Hey everyone, ever seen this stuff in the store? This dip powder? Or been in a salon and had them ask you if you would like um, a dip and you have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm going to show you quickly what this is all about. So you'll know, and if you go to a salon and you want to have it done, or if you want to try and do it yourself at home, you can do that. This is my little sample hand, and I'm going to use my sample hand today because I don't want to mess up my own manicure because it took way too long to do. So we're going to work on my friend. As you can see here, I've been playing and working with some new acrylic products and messing around creating different shapes of nails. So we're gonna put some dip on these today. We'll do this one because it's the easiest one to do. So if this is your hand, you are going to want to start by prepping your nails. We always prep our nails before we do anything. Why? Because the goal is to get this stuff to stick and last for a couple days. There's nothing more frustrating than spending all the time to do your nails and then have it chip and come off like within a day. So the prep is important. So we're going to start with that. But before we do, let me go ahead and get these out of the way here. So what we have our dip color. Now these I just picked up at Ulta Beauty. So when you open them up, you have these little tiny jars of powder. So this is acrylic powder mixed with pigment. This is the same acrylic powder, basically. Maybe the formula is a little bit different than the acrylic powders that you would use if you were doing acrylic nails like I did here. So very similar. What you'll also need is your activator and your base coat. So the base coat is the glue that's going to stick the powder to your nail. The activator is going to make sure that that glue dries hard. So we're going to use these. Some systems also come with a top coat, which is a similar sort of glue sealer. I'm not going to use that today. I just have a simple top coat that I grabbed from the store. The activator and the base coat. So these are kind of small bottles, but these go a long way. So you will get a lot of use out of these. And they're small. You may have also seen the big containers of them because there's two different ways to go about this, and I'll show you that in a minute. The dip powders sometimes come with these little scoops, so I'll show you that too. But first, let's get to our nail. Now, I've already prepped my nails, but I want to show you what you need to do first. So first, you need to wash your hands so your hands are nice and clean, but wash them knowing that you're going to need some time for your nails to dry before you start doing any of this, because we don't want moisture in your nails themselves. So maybe, wash your hands, I don't know, like half an hour, 45 minutes or so before you're going to do all this, just to get the gunk and the junk, and you've cleaned under your nails and all that stuff. Get that done and make sure you have plenty of time for your nails to be nice and dry and have no moisture locked into them from that before you do this. Don't go wash them and then come right in and start doing your nails. It's not going to work. But when you have nice dry hands, another thing you can do is you can use some rubbing alcohol, or some people will use nail polish remover just to get any residue off your nails and make sure everything's nice and dry. So we want to go in with our cuticle pusher. So right here, this is a little rubber tipped pusher. Just going to push back those cuticles, get them out of the way. This is very delicate on that a nice soft skin we have there. What this is not going to do, these rubber ones, is get rid of any dead tissue. That is where something like this comes into play. This is a glass cuticle pusher. You can get these on Amazon or whatever, and they're really super for cleaning up the dead tissue. So we'll go around same way, maybe get this tip for a little more detail work here, getting rid of all that dead tissue that's along the edge of the nail. Okay, the next thing you want to do is buff your nails. So very gently, just go over the surface of your nails, and just when you're working with your natural nails, just be super light and gentle. We're just getting that surface of the nails a little rough, just so everything bonds well, okay? So nothing hard. We're not trying to take off layers of nail, just a gentle buff. And then this is where you might want to go in again with your rubbing alcohol, just to get any extra dirt out or dust out of the cuticle area. So now we're clean, we're ready to go. We're going to get into our dip. I've done dip before. I've done some of the darker colors before. They're a pain in the butt because the powder gets into your cuticle and can be hard to get out of your cuticle. One of these little orange sticks is going to be, orange wood sticks is going to be really handy for getting in here and getting any of that loose powder that might be around your nails. The lighter powders aren't such a problem, but the darker colors, just saying, it can get a little messy. Quite honestly, dip is not my favorite way to do my nails. I tend to go for regular nail polish or gel polishes, but I think dip can sometimes get a little chunky. So you have chunky looking nails. I like thinner. Now these are my natural nails, but I like them even with the gel on top. You know, you can see the gel that's on top of my nails. I like my nails thinner. I will make sure when I'm wearing my nails long, I have an apex. Now we're going to do a shorter nail here. This one in particular is long enough that you'd need an apex on this, and you can do that with the dips as well. But if you're wearing your nails shorter, you don't need to worry quite so much about that. The apex is going to keep your nails from flexing, your natural nails from flexing. So with that powder in mind, you could go with a cuticle protector. This is a latex. They make it latex free. The only problem with these is even dry, they can be a little sticky. So once you paint this around the cuticle and then you powder the dip, you're going to get powder on it and it's going to stick to it. Now, you're going to end up peeling this off and throwing it away, so it's not a big deal, but you might get lumps of powder on it and might make it difficult to finish doing your work. What you can also do is get these guys online, and they look like this out of the package. Obviously, I've used a couple of them, but they are adhesive. They're just little peel and stick. Stick them around your cuticles. They are not tacky on the surface at all, so you can put them on to protect your cuticles and then peel them right off and not have to worry about them getting gummed up with any of the powders and so forth, but just to help protect your cuticles if you want. There are two different techniques for dipping, and the word dip, of course, comes from the idea that you're going to dip the nail into the jar of pigment. These little tiny jars don't work so great for that. That's why you see people with the big jars. The problem with dipping is you can get waves in your application. It gets a little chunky and gunky. when you are pushing the nail into the product while the glue is still wet. The other thing is, if you're going to a nail salon for your dip, everybody who's in that day and the day before and the day after and the day after that is all dipping into the same product. So if you have any concerns about contamination, you might not want to be using the same product everybody in your town is using as well. So the other way to do this is to do a pour over with it. So to do a pour over, you're going to need some way to catch the product, and these little cupcake papers work great for that. So we're going to be pouring the product on top of the nail and catching it in here. Now, you can take that little bit of product and throw it away, or, and again, no contamination, or if this is your own products you have at home and you don't care, you can pour this right back in and you're just fine. Just know that if there's any dirt or dust or anything in here as well, you're pouring that back in here too. So again, a little bit goes a long way. So if you want to just throw away what's in here, you can do that. That's just fine. So now that we have our clean nail, we're going to start with our base coat. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And I'm going to get our tin, our paper ready to go. Okay. I'm going to have this handy and my orange stick. I'm going to go ahead and undo the top on this. And I don't have to do this part over the paper, but I'm trying to keep everything in the frame here. We want very, very, very little product. We're going to start down here. We're going to push it up. We're going to try not to flood the cuticle. This is a glue. Let's go ahead. Get the whole nail. Kind of let it soak in there. Knock off any extra. We're going to let this sit and dry for just a couple seconds. So let's examine how I did here. I see that I have a little gap on the end, so I'm going to make sure on my next coat I cover that. I can also see that I have a little gap on this side, so I want to make sure I get some glue on there as well on the next go round. So let's go ahead and brush off some of this extra. Now, that's all dry. I mean, there's nothing there. There's no tack, there's no nothing. So let me go ahead and brush it a little more aggressively, because when I go back in with my glue again, I don't want to run the risk of filling my glue full of glitter that's going to end up in the next color that I do, whatever that color ends up being in the future. Let's do this again. I'm going to be sure to get this edge a little better. I've wiped my brush on the paper so that I don't get that pick up any glitter and put that back in my bottle. These papers that I use underneath are the same papers that dentists use, so they're waterproof on the back. You can get them off of Amazon and whatnot. They're super cheap, and they're a great way to protect your work surface. There we go. Give that a second. I'm going to end up having to cut this down. I don't know. Maybe I'll do some sort of nail art on it. Take a picture before I cut it off. I was just having fun one night. All right. So, if you're going to be doing super long nails and you need that apex, you will start off this process by running your glue down the middle so that you build more product up in the middle of the nail than you do on the sides, so that you create, if you can imagine with me, you're creating a deeper curve. That C curve that gives the nails more strength. If you were to go into a salon and have acrylics done, they would build that C curve in with the acrylic. Or if you have hybrid gel, or even if you're having tips put on, even if you're having tips put on, they should be building in that arch right there, 1/3 of the way across the length of the nail, to build up that curve and build up the strength of the nail. No fun in spending all that money to do long nails and then having something snap off because it wasn't built correctly. All right, I've done 3 layers, which I think is plenty. Now, I've never had to go in so far with my orange stick because I've been very careful not to get the glue all the way back there. But if you do, while the glue is still wet, that's when you need to go in with that stick and clean it up. I'm going to move this out of the way. We're done with it for now. So now we need our activator. So let's go ahead and get all this capped up. And bring in the activator. The activator is what is going to really make this glue do its job. Again, I don't want to pick up the glitter. All right, we're going to do 2 coats of this. We're going to let this dry about a minute or 2. Then we're going to come in with another coat and do the same thing. Okay, that's been a minute or 2. Do the magic of video. I have a little extra product right here, so I'm going to give it just a little buff. This is where we'll be doing our shaping. So if you have any little areas where you've got anything funky like that going on, this is your chance to hit it, to touch it up. Some people like to also buy clear dip powder, and they'll do their layers of colored powder, and after they're done with their layers of colored powder, they'll go on with a clear layer. That's a great idea because it means when you're coming in to do your final shaping, you're shaping that clear layer. You're not shaping your color layer and running the risk of filing your color off your nail. So I think that's a great idea. I didn't get any clear to show you guys, but if you're going to do this, yeah, go ahead and get yourself some clear as well. All right, I'm going in with my second layer of activator, especially because I filed on that side. Give this a minute. So 4 to 5 minutes is our full cure on this. I'm going to go in with one more layer of the base coat, basically using it like a sealer. Again, some systems come with a top coat, but I'm just going to use this base coat one more time. We are going to let that dry. I will hit it with the activator one last time, and then we will go ahead and top coat with our clear gloss. Okay, and for that last bit of activator, you might see online some people go on about the different brushes in the bottles. Some products have really thick brushes that hold a lot, which makes it difficult because this is a process where you need thin layers. These ones from Ulta Beauty, they're really tiny brushes. I'm not having any problem at all with them holding too much product. So, and I think the color is pretty true to what we started with. And then let's do one last coat of activator. Okay, so this has sat long enough. I'm going to go ahead, and I'm happy with the way it looks. I'm going to go ahead and go in with a top coat. So in summary here, what did we do? We prepped our cuticles, we buffed our nails, we cleaned them off with some rubbing alcohol. We've gotten rid of all the dust. If we want to, we've added a base coat of our preferred product to our nails just to help protect the natural nail. we've gone in with our dip base coat. We've sprinkled on our pigment powder, or we dipped if we want to dip. We've let that dry. We've used our orange wood stick to clean up the cuticles if we needed to. We've brushed all the excess off to get all that dust out of our cuticles as well. We let that dry. We did 2 to 3 coats like that. So base coat, dip, base coat, dip, base coat, dip. And when we were done with as many layers as we wanted, we did 2 coats of activator, let that dry, then filed, shaped, buffed, and dusted our nails. If we're not happy with it, we can go back and do some more if we need some more somewhere. But then again, once we were finally happy with everything, we did a last layer of the base, or the top if your products come with a base and top. 2 more coats of activator. And after everything was finally dry, we went in with our glossy top coat, or matte top coat if you want to use matte top coat, but our top coat to finish it all up. And let me know what you think, if you've tried it, what brands you've used, what you've thought of them, and I'll see you around. Bye.